This is Caesar de Bello Gallico Liber Primus, chapter 3. So in the previous chapter, we had Orgetorix, the nobilissimus et ditissimus of all the Helvetians, the most noble and the wealthiest of all the Helvetians. And he made a conspiracy amongst the nobility because he was influenced by a lust for a crown, a lust to sit on a throne, lust for kingship. He wanted to be a king. So he persuaded the entire state to pick up and leave their territory, because he was able to point out to them that they were hemmed in, contained on all sides by some sort of natural terrain that hindered them, that kept them from fulfilling their own potential. And so if they picked up all their stuff, cum omnibus copiis, with all their forces, and they left and they emigrated into Gaul proper, they could win a kingdom for themselves, because they surpass the rest of the Gauls in their virtus, in their manly martial courage. They are more manly than everyone else, so therefore, why can't they win a throne for themselves? So Orgetorix has engineered this conspiracy for himself, and he's taking his entire state along for the ride. This chapter outlines the further details of the conjuratio, of the conspiracy. His rebus adducti et auctoritate Orgetorigis permoti constituerunt ea quae ad proficiscendum pertinerent comparare iumentorum et carrorum quam maximum numerum coemere sementes quam maximas facere ut in itinere copia frumentis suppeteret cum proximis civitatibus pacem et amicitiam confirmare. So we have his rebus adducti. Adducti is perfect passive participle of adduco, to lead to, or it can also mean to influence. It's somewhat synonymous with inductus from the previous chapter. So we had Orgetorix inductus, Orgetorix having been influenced by a cupiditate regni. Here we have his rebus adducti. The subject are the Helvetii. They're a holdover from the previous chapter. We haven't had a change of subject since, so it still is the Helvetii. Adducti, nominative plural masculine, the Helvetii. The Helvetians, comma, having been influenced his rebus by these things, by all this stuff, by these facts, you could say, that Orgetorix laid out for them in the previous chapter. We are hemmed in on all sides, and here is the natural terrain that is keeping us there. So, influenced by these things, the Helvetians are like, he's got a point. Et auctoritate Orgetorigis permoti. Permoti is parallel with adducti. So, while they were influenced by these things, they were also permoti, moved. I wouldn't say alarmed or disturbed here, that permovio can often mean. Here I would just say they were moved. They were emotionally moved by the auctoritate, the auctorita, the auctoritas, the authority, the prestige of Orgetorigis, of Orgetorix. He is the most noble, and he is the wealthiest. Therefore, he commands a certain amount of prestige and respect, and this has moved the citizenry. They're like, wow, he is rather successful. We should probably listen to everything that he says and believe him. So, having been influenced by these things and moved by the authority, the prestige of Orgetorix, constituerunt, they decided, they set up a plan, perfect tense of constituo. They decided. What follows here are several infinitives, and the infinitives are complementary infinitives working off of the main verb constituere. They decided to verb, and then we're going to have the verbs that they decided to do. The ea here, following constituerunt, is accusative plural neuter. You'll find that is ea id is often followed up by a qui quae quod, because the qui quae quod will further explain its relative adjectival clause. It will give more information about what the is ea id thing is. Here we have ea, accusative plural neuter, quae, that is plural neuter, quae is nominative, where ea is direct object. So they decided to comparare, there's our complementary infinitive, to buy up, to ready. I'm sorry, coemere is buy up. This is comparare is to ready, to get ready. Comparare, to get ready the ea, the things which is answered by, what things? The quae, the things which ad proficiscendum pertinerent. Ad proficiscendum, that's the accusative, singular neuter. It is not the gerundive. It's not an adjective. It doesn't have a noun that works with it. This verbal is working by itself, so it's a verbal noun. It's a gerund. No noun it goes with. It's not an adjective. It's not a gerundive. It's a gerund. Ad proficiscendum, showing purpose. Ad plus the accusative, gerund or gerundive shows purpose. So for leaving, for setting out, proficiscor, for in order to set out or in order to make their departure. Pertinerent, which pertains. So they decided, the Helvetians, they're influenced and moved. They decided to get ready, ea quae, the things which pertinerent, pertain to setting out for departure. So all the stuff that has to do with getting ready to leave for departure, they got that stuff ready. They comparare. So remember that perfect participles have to happen prior to the main verb. So the main verb is constituerunt. But first, the Helvetians had to be adducti, influenced. Then they had to be permoti, move. The perfect participles have to happen before the main verb. First influenced, then moved, then they decided. Same thing with the previous chapter. We had Orgetorigis, he was inductus, he was first influenced, and then he fecit the coniurationem, then he made the conspiracy. Perfect participles happen before the main verb, prior to. Iumentorum et carrorum quam maximum numerum coemere. So iumentorum et carrorum, those are both genitives of pack animals and carts, quam maximum numerum. Quam plus the maximus is the superlative, so we have the super superlative. The greatest number quam possible. The greatest number possible, coemere. Coemere, like comparare, is the complementary infinitive working off the main verb constituere. So they decided to get ready, and then they decided to coemere. This is buy up. This is cum emo, to buy up. Quam maximum numerum, here's the direct object, the greatest number possible of iumentorum et carrorum, of pack animals and carts. Sementes quam maximus facere. Sementes quam maximus, and to facere sementes, that means to plant seeds, to sow seeds, quam maximus, and maximus goes with sementes. To plant as many seeds as possible, to sow as many seeds as possible. Ut, so probably going to be a purpose clause, or maybe a result clause. Ut in itinere, so in the route, the journey, the march, ablative. A copia frumenti, nominative copia, a supply of grain, suppeteret, might be available. Imperfect subjunctive. This is answering the question of, well, why would they plant the greatest number of seeds possible? Why would they sow so many seeds? Well, for the purpose of, we're answering the question, how? So adverbial or normy purpose clause. So that a supply of grain might be available in itinere, on the march. So they could have, food to eat while marching to their new destination. Cum proximis civitatibus pacem et amicitiam confirmare. And finally, confirmare goes with constituere. They decided to confirmare, confirm, strengthen, encourage, declare, pacem et amicitiam, peace and friendship, cum proximis civitatibus, with their nearest states. Because while you're in the process of getting ready to leave and you're moving out, you don't want to have your back to neighbors or states which might otherwise try and take advantage of you in your hindered and encumbered and weakened state. So we had the main verb constituerunt, and then it has complementary infinitives comparare, coemere, facere, and confirmare. So they got ready, they bought up, they sowed, and they declared. All the things that they decided to do after they were influenced and alarmed by the authority of Orgetorigis. Great sentence. Ad eas res conficiendas biennium sibi esse duxerunt. In tertium annum profectionem lege confirmant. Ad eas res conficiendas, ad plus this, with ad proficiscendum we had an accusative gerund. Here we have a gerundive. It's an adjective because conficiendas in the accusative plural feminine agrees in gender, number, and case with the noun res. So ad eas res conficiendas. If this gerund ad proficiscendum meant in order to set out, this one means in order to conficio, to complete these things, in order to complete this stuff, to accomplish these, I would say, tasks here. All these tasks, these comparare, coemere, facere, and confirmare. So in order to accomplish these tasks, remember, res can be a stand-in word. Main definition is stuff, but you can further define what that stuff is and use context. In order to accomplish this stuff, these things, these preparations, biennium sibi esse duxere. Biennium is a compound of bi or by annus, so 2 years, and it's singular, so a 2-year period, reflexive sibi, dative, satis, esse, duxere. Duxere here is like they thought, or like they led to a conclusion. They thought about it and they came to a conclusion. Just existimaverunt or putaverunt. So they thought that a biennium, indirect statement, a 2-year period, satis esse, is enough sibi for them, dative indirect object. So in order to accomplish these things, they thought that a 2-year period was enough for them. In tertium annum, in the 3rd year, profectionem lege confirmant, so they confirm, they declare by law their departure in tertium annum for the 3rd year, in the 3rd year. Meaning that after the 2-year period is up and they get to that 3rd year, they declare by law, by passing a law, that they will depart. They confirm or declare their departure by law for the 3rd year. Ad eas res conficiendas. Wait a minute, did you just do a double take? This is the exact same phrasing as this right here, and it means the same thing, and it's the same construction. In order to accomplish these tasks, Orgetorigis delegitor, Orgetorigis is chosen. Ah, yes, he is chosen. The passive voice. Notice it's not Orgetorigis chose himself, although that seems to be sort of what happened. He comes up with the conspiracy, he comes up with the idea, announces it to the people, and the people say, well, we have all these things we have to do. And he says, yes, I know. How about I take care of it for you? Oh, yes, Orgetorigis, we are very moved by your authority. Is sibi legationem ad civitates suscipit. Is, isea id, masculine, refers back to Orgetorigis. He, sibi, reflexive, dative, refers also back to Orgetorigis. Romans like to put words that mean this referring to either to the same person, or they like to put the same noun right next to one another, only they'll put one in a different case. So if is is nominative referring to Orgetorigis, sibi is dative referring to Orgetorigis, and we just put them right next to each other because that's a thing that we like to do. It's clever. He, for himself, a legationem, legation is feminine. I say embassage, an ambassadorship. It's the job that a legatus does, a lieutenantship. It allows him to act as an ambassador. So I would say an embassage. Ad civitates, to the states, and these are the proximis civitatibus that they want to declare pax et amicitiam, peace and friendship. So he suscipit. This is sub capio, literally sub, under, capio, takes, and we have that same expression in English. He undertakes for himself the embassage to the states, meaning that he volunteers himself to be the ambassador to the states. You know what? I'll go. It was my idea. I'll go. Oh, great. Orgetorigis. That's a great idea. I mean, you can kind of guess what's going to happen. He's going to conspirators are going to conspire. In eo itinere persuadet castico, catamenteloidis filio, sequano, cuius pater regnum in sequanis multos annos obtenuerat, et a senatu populi Romani amicus appellatus erat, ut regnum in civitate sua occuparet, quod pater ante habueret. I'm going to stop right there because that sentence keeps on going. It's great. Another classic Caesar sentence. In eo itinere, in that march, in that journey, I would say on that journey, and then eo begs the question, well, which journey? And it would be answered by a relative clause, a qui quod. The one that Orgetorigis went on to persuade the other states. Oh, that one. Yes, that one. So on that journey, persuadet castico. Remember, feed this into your brain. Persuadeo, persuadere takes the dative. If you persuade someone, that someone is in the dative. That explains castico, the dative of casticus. So on that journey, he, Orgetorigis, persuades. I know this took place in the past, and this is present tense. This is a historical present. So it's put in the present tense to add vividness. We do this in English. We do this when we're talking about a story, but we make the verbs present tense. Check out more examples in the notes and glosses. He persuades Casticus, catamenteloidis filio, great name. Filio is the dative here, and it's the appositive of castico. So filio describes who castico was. Catamenteloidis is genitive. So he persuades Casticus, the son of catamenteloidis. Sequano, a sequani, another positive of castico. Cuius is genitive, so we have a relative clause. Whose pater, whose father, regnum in sequanis multos annos obtenuera, whose father obtenuera had held. Obteneo means to get possession of. We've seen this in chapter 1. The Gallos obtenere, the land which the Gauls possess. The Gauls have command, or the Gauls govern. And it's going with regnum. So I would say he had sat the throne. Whose father had sat the throne in sequanis, among the sequani, multos annos, accusative of duration of time, for many years, for the duration of many years. So Casticus's father, that would be Catamenteloidis, had sat the throne among the sequani for many years. He'd been king amongst the sequani for many years. Et a senatu populi Romani amicus appellatus erat, and had been named, appellatus, had been styled amicus, amicus being the predicate nominative of pater, whose father had done this and had been styled friend. He had been named friend. He was called friend a senatu by the Senate of the Roman people. So the Romans had named Catamenteloidis an amicus, which was an official title, usually amicus et socius, friend and ally. Ut regnum in civitate. Now all of that, from Catamenteloidis to appellatus erat, that was just information on Casticus. That was who Casticus was. And that interrupted our narrative. The ut picks us back up with the narrative. The ut goes back with persuadet castico. That is the indirect command. That's the noun clause that Orgetorigis persuaded Casticus to do. To ut regnum in civitate sua occuparet, so that he might seize the throne, the crown, kingdom, kingship in his own state. So Orgetorigis goes to Casticus and says, dude, I've got this sweet thing in my place. It's called a conspiracy. I've made it with the nobility, and here's what we're going to do. He lays out the plan to him, and then he says, and you know what? You should do the same thing. I'm having the best time. Fully recommend, would do it again. You should conspire. In fact, we should conspire together. So he persuades Casticus ut to occupare, to seize the crown, the throne in his own state, quod pater ante habueret, which his father had held before. Quod pater ante habueret. the same one which his father had held, which his father had had. Itemque Dumnorigi Haeduo, fratri diviciaci, qui eo tempore principatum in civitate obtenebat, ac maxime plebi acceptus era, ut idem connaretur persuadet, eique filiam suam in matrimonium dat. And that finishes the amazing sentence. Itemque, there's our conjunction, it's item and quae, and likewise, and in the same way. Dumnorigi Haeduo, the dative of Dumnorix, the Haeduan. Some texts do not have the H on Haeduan. I'm used to not having the H, but the text that I used from Latin Library retains the H. I do not care. If you want to keep the H, you want to say Haedui, that's fine. If you want to say Haedui, that's fine. I grew up saying Dumnorix the Haeduan. So if you want to say Dumnorix the Haeduan, who am I to tell you what's right? Oh wait, I'm the teacher. Never mind. And likewise, Dumnorigi Haeduo, dative, fratri diviciaci. Fratri is dative. It's a positive with Dumnorigi Haeduo. I wonder why this proper noun is in the dative. I wonder if it's parallel structure with the previous persuaded castico, which was also in the dative. Oh well, I bet we'll find out. Fratri is also dative, diviciaci is genitive, the brother of Diviciacus. Qui eo tempore, who? The antecedent of qui, the relative qui, is Diviciacus, so we're going to talk about Diviciacus. This is going to be an adjectival relative clause describing Diviciacus, giving more information about him. Just as we had a lot of information about Casticus and Cadamantuloidus before, we need to have some background on whom Dumnorix and Diviciacus are. Who eo tempore, at that time. Eo tempore is equivalent to the adverb tum, then at that time. Who then, who at that time, principatum in civitate obtenebat. Just as Cadamantuloidus had obtenuerat the regnum, that sat the throne in among his own people, Diviciacus at that time, so not previously, but at that current time which Caesar's talking about, he was holding the chieftainship. I know it's the same verb, but I'm going to change the translation a little bit because we have principatum. He held the sat the chieftainship, just doesn't sound the same. He held the chieftainship, principatum, principatus os masculum, in civitate, in his state, ac, and also maxime plebi acceptus erat, he had been greatly accepted by the plebs, by the common people. He had been greatly accepted by the common people. So Diviciacus, this guy amongst the Haeduans, he is currently the chief of the Haedui. People like him, the Haedui like him. His brother is Dumnorix, and this is the guy that Orgetorigis is persuading. Ut idem connaretur persuadet, and there's the persuadet. So there's the persuadeo. Dumnorigi Haeduo is dative because of the persuadet down a ways. So and likewise he persuades Dumnorix the Haeduan, the brother of Diviciacus, who at that time held the chieftainship in that state and had been greatly accepted by the plebs. And this is the noun clause, the indirect command, what Orgetorigis persuades him to do. Ut idem connaretur, so that he connaretur might try the same thing. Idem, the same thing. Is ea id plus dem. Idem, eadem, idem. This is the neuter singular accusative idem. To connaretur, he persuades him so that he might try the same thing. Check out how the historical present persuaded acts grammatically like a perfect, because connaretur, the indirect command following it, is imperfect subjunctive, whereas persuaded is present indicative. You would expect us to be in primary sequence, and then it would be followed up by either a present or a perfect subjunctive, depending on the time relationship between the two verbs. Instead, we have the imperfect subjunctive, which means that the main verb should be a past tense. So historical presents actually count as past tenses, or can count as past tenses sometimes, depending on who's writing. Keep that in mind. Eique, almost done. Eique filiam suam in matrimonium dot. And he dot gives filiam suam, his own daughter. Ei is the dative of issa id. It refers back to Dumnorix. And he gives his own daughter to him in matrimonium, in marriage. Makes a mater matris, feminine mother out of her. So what a great sentence. All in all, it says, it doesn't even have Orgetorix in it. He, Orgetorix, persuades on that journey Casticus, the son of Cadamentuloides, a Sequani, whose father had sat the throne for many years and had been styled friend by the Senate of the Roman people, to take the throne in his own state, which his father had had before. And likewise he persuades Dumnorix the Aeduan, the brother of Diviciacus, who at that time held the chieftainship in his state and had been greatly accepted by the plebs, to try the same thing. And he gives his own daughter to him in matrimony. You could say the former gives his daughter in matrimony to the latter, to the later guy, Dumnorix. All right, classic Caesar sentence. Per facile factu esse illis probat conate perficere, propterea quod ipse suae civitatis imperium obtenturus esset. So per facile factu. Once again, it's very easy, thoroughly easy. Factu. Factu is a ablative supine, so treasure this. Supines are pretty rare. Very easy in the doing, which sounds more natural in English to say very easy to do. Very easy in the doing. Esse illis probat. Probat, he proves. Illis refers to Casticus and Dumnorix. The subject is once again Orgetorix. We've just not changed the subject this whole time. So he, besides the Helvetians at the beginning, so he, Orgetorix, proves illis to them, Casticus and Dumnorix, that indirect statement, this esse, per facile factu, is very easy to do. Conate perficere. And then expands out here. So he proves to them, illis, that perficere conata, completing their attempts. Conata as a noun. Here it's accusative plural. Completing their attempts, their tries, would be per facile factu, would be very easy to do. Well, why would that be, Orgetorix? Propterea quod, especially because, causal, explaining, especially because ipse, he himself, Orgetorix, suae civitatis imperium obtenturus esset, because he himself, obtenturus esset, was, this is an active periphrastic. He, esset, we have the imperfect subjunctive, obtenturus is a future active participle. He was on the verge, he was ready to, he was intending to, he was about to, obtenturus, obtain imperium, power, command of his own state, suae civitatis. So Orgetorix summons them and proves to them that it is very easy to accomplish their attempts, especially because he himself, Orgetorix, was on the verge. Obtenturus tells you what you intend or what you are about to do. The future active participle. That he was on the verge of or about to seize power in his own state. Non esse dubium, and the indirect statement continues. What he probat to them, what he proves to them, that. Non esse dubium, there is no doubt. He proves that there is no doubt. Quim. Verbs of doubt typically take a quin, what you doubt or don't doubt that something is. So it's followed by quin, which is a compound of the Old Latin quine, whereby not. He proves to them that there was no doubt that totius Gallae plurimum Helvetii possent, that they, the Helvetians, were possent, plurimum. Here it means possum is related to potestas, power, potentiality, and the adjective potens, potentis. In fact, the participle of possum, potens, is the same as the adjective potens, potentis, powerful. So here, possum means not just able, but they are powerful, and they are plurimum possent. They are exceedingly powerful. Totius Gallii, of all of Gaul. He proves to them that there is no doubt that the Helvetians are the most powerful, plurimum possent, the most capable, the most powerful of all of Gaul. Se suis copiis suoque exercitu illis regna conciliatorum confirmat. And he confirms, he declares that, say, that he himself, suis copiis, with his own forces, suoque exercitu. Notice the reflexives. Suis and suo. They agree with, refer to Orgetorigis, and who is here represented by se, the accusative subject of the indirect statement, introduced by the head verb confirmat. He confirms that he himself, with his own forces and with his own army. Conciliatorum, notice the implied esse, you don't see it there. He will win regna, crowns, thrones, kingdoms, illis, for them. So the Helvetians are extremely powerful. Join me. Together we shall rule all of Gaul. Mwahaha. What a comic book villain plan. So he confirms, declares that he will win crowns for them with his own forces and his own army. Because the Helvetians, there is no doubt, because the Helvetians are the most powerful of all the Gauls. Hoc oratione adducti, which is very similar to the beginning, his rebus adducti. So having been influenced, only here's not the Helvetians, it's all of them. It's Casticus and Dumnorix. Having been influenced hoc oratione by this speech, must have been a rousing one, oratio orationis feminine, inter se fidem et usurandum dant. That means that they just swore oaths and fidelity, inter se, between each other, among them. So they dant usurandum and fidem. They give faith and oaths, faith and friendship. I would just say they swear oaths amongst themselves. Et regno occupato per tres potentissimos ac fermissimos populos, totius Gallii sese potiri posse sperant. Dun dun dun. So, regno occupato, ablative absolute, with the kingdom having been seized. So after seizing a kingdom, per tres potentissimos ac fermissimos, the ac is joining potentissimos and fermissimos, and both of them are modifying populos. Totius Gallii genitive, sese potiri posse and sperant. And sperant is your introductory head verb. Remember that verbs of hoping in Latin take an indirect statement. So having been influenced by this speech, they dant, they swear oaths, and they hope, sperant, that with the kingdom having been seized, after seizing the kingdom, after seizing the crown, they posse, they are able to potiri, to gain possession. Remember that verb takes either the genitive or the ablative. Here it takes the genitive. Totius Gallii, of all of Gaul, per tres potentissimos, through, I would also say through the agency of three potentissimos, most powerful, ac fermissimos, and firm, hardy, strong, populous peoples. So, influenced by this speech, they swear oaths, and they hope that after seizing the throne, they are able to gain possession of the whole of Gaul through the agency of three most powerful and hardy peoples.